Hello everyone, it's Marie and welcome to another video. Here is my vlog of my 3-day hike at the Abel Tasman National Park. Now this was actually my first ever multi-day hike. I'd never hiked with like a backpack on and with my tent and sleeping bag and food and everything in it before, so it was a real challenge for me. But the Abel Tasman is a nice easy walk. It's not too hard. It can get difficult at times, but most of all it's a pretty simple walk and it's super well signposted and very safe because there's always tons of people doing the hike. So yeah, let's just get into it. Hello everyone, it's Marie and welcome to another video. So today I'm filming from Queenstown. I'm actually just in a park, not far away from my hostel, and it's getting a bit dark now, turning to dusk. So it's pretty late now and I'm trying to film this before it gets too dark because I want to edit it and upload it tonight. So anyway, let's get into it. So this video is all about my trip to the Abel Tasman. I did the 5-day great walk, but I actually did it in just 3 days, 2 nights and 3 days, because I wanted to get it done quickly. I only had a 3-day weekend from work and I also didn't do the whole thing. So in this video I'm just going to talk about like how I did it from start to finish. It'll have some information about the Abel Tasman in it, like for example where I started, what huts I stayed in or what campsites I stayed at, how many Ks I did a day, crossing at the tide. So it'll have loads of information in it. So obviously you can watch this as an informational video too, but mostly it's just a fun vlog as well, talking about what I did and how I enjoyed it. I am going to make a totally different tips and advice video about the Abel Tasman National Park and how you can do the 5-day hike, where you can stay, best huts, things to take, what to pack, that kind of stuff, and I will link that video up here once it's done, but it probably won't be for another week or so. Anyway, let's just get into it. So we started off at Marihau. Now there are 2 sides to the Abel Tasman. There's Marihau and Totaraniu. I hope I'm saying this right. The easiest way to go from Nelson is to start at Marihau. There's also tons and tons of parking for your car at Marihau, so it's a really good place to park. So we started there and then we took an aqua taxi all the way to the end, which is to Totaraniu. And we started all the way at the end. Now a lot of people choose to do the loop at the end and then walk back. Because we only had 3 days, we decided to just walk all the way back instead. The walk basically included a mix of coastline and bush. 1 minute you're walking through beautiful New Zealand bush and you're going all the way up some big hills, and then you're walking along the nice coast and it's really chilled and not an incline at all. I actually was really looking forward to the coastal walks every time we got down to the coast, but then dreading kind of going back into the bush because although I love the New Zealand bush, every time we went into the bush I knew it was going to go all the way uphill again. It obviously made for great views, but it was exhausting with a big backpack on. So on the first day we went all the way from Totaraniu to Awaroa. Awaroa? I think that's how you say it. Oh my god, I cannot say this right at all. These mouldy names really confuse me sometimes. So yeah, we went to Awaroa. I think that's how you say it. And this particular campsite requires a crossing. So we ended up crossing when the tide was low. We actually ended up having to wait a couple of hours at the other side before we could cross to the camp. So as you can see, we're walking through the water a little bit, but it was nice and fun, and by the time we got to the camp it was dark outside. So yeah, we ended up setting up our tent in the dark. The Awaroa campsite doesn't have any bypass, so this is one of the only ones that you have to wait for the tide to go down. There's no way you can walk around it. This campsite was really cool actually. It had great facilities, it had good drinking water, it had a lot of people camping there. It was a really popular one. It had some huts as well if you want to stay in huts. Also had some toilets obviously, and it had like washing up bowls and sinks and places to do like, you know, washing and wash your hands, brush your teeth, that kind of stuff. So this camp was actually a really nice one. The next day obviously we started walking about 20 Ks to the next camp. Day 2 entailed walking about 20 Ks, which wasn't too bad. It was doable. We had a whole day and we actually bypassed Bark Bay on the way. Bark Bay was actually a really good camp. It was just a bit too close for us to stop there. It would have made the last day really difficult, but Bark Bay was great. Everyone was having campfires on the beach and it was a really popular one. It also had a Wi-Fi booth, which is pretty cool to know, so if you want to stop at Bark Bay I would recommend it for sure. I think that the second day was my favourite because we ended up going across some swinging bridges and the bush was just beautiful, and yeah, I just thought the second day was really scenic. I think it's because we were walking quite a lot of Ks in that day. on our list was we bypassed through Back Bay and went all the way to Torrent Bay. So Torrent Bay was a beautiful campsite in the respect that it was right near the beach, and we actually found a little sneaky place like on the beach in the middle of nowhere where there was Wi-Fi, so we had a great time on Facebook that night for a few hours. But then yeah, so we camped at the camp. The only negative about Torrent Bay was that literally we were the only people there, and it was a bit lonely and a bit crappy in the respect that it had no drinking water and no sinks or anything, just one long drop toilet that wasn't exactly the best. But you know, if we'd have known better, we would have gone to Anchorage, which was the next one on. So right here, obviously the next day, we ended up walking towards Anchorage. We had to once again do another crossing, so we had to wait until the tide was low. We got lucky, the tide was low in the morning, so we just waited until it got low enough to walk through. So the crossing where you have to cross at low tide just before Anchorage does have a bypass, so you can choose to walk 2 hours around out of the way and bypass the tide. So if you don't want to wait for the tide, you can walk around. But we got lucky, the tide was down just as we woke up, so we walked straight across that morning. So on the final day we left Torrent Bay, and yeah, we ended up walking back to Marihau, which is where we started. After about 6 hours of walking on the final day, we made it back to Marihau. I got back to my car and we drove back to Christchurch. It was great, but it was a very long drive back. I was quite lucky because I was actually doing a car share with another girl as well. She found me on Facebook and she wanted to live back to Christchurch, and she was kind enough to do half the journey for me, which I was so thankful for, because obviously I don't expect that when I offer someone a lift somewhere. They obviously pay towards petrol, but they never usually drive. But she knew I'd just done 3 days of hiking and she felt bad for me, so she kindly offered to drive, and I was so thankful to her, so I obviously said yes, which really was nice. I didn't get back to Christchurch till about midnight, and I had to be up for 6 AM the next morning. So yeah, I was pretty tired the next day. I didn't get much sleep and my muscles were very achy, but apart from that, I had an amazing time doing the Abel Tasman. I absolutely loved it. I think we walked a total of about 45 Ks in 3 days, which isn't too bad, but really we only had like 1 full day and 2 half days, because 1 day was the beginning and 1 day was the end. So that's pretty much the summary of this vlog. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope you enjoyed seeing how we did the Abel Tasman. Sorry that my GoPro skills weren't the best. It was my first time using a GoPro and I kind of clipped it to the wrong place, and I didn't think about it until I got home and realised the footage was a bit crap. So sorry about that, but I can promise you I have improved since then, and my GoPro using skills are much better now, I hope. I think. So yeah, anyway, I'm just going to end this vlog here. Don't forget to look out for the Abel Tasman tips and advice video, because I'm going to make a video literally going into detail about where you start, where you finish, all the different like campsites on the way, how to go about booking it, or if you would rather do like huts, the prices and stuff, and just, you know, working out tide times and all that kind of stuff, because every time I talk to people in hostels, they're always really confused and they always love me giving them advice on the Abel Tasman, because I must admit, when I was just about to do it, I didn't know that much about like how to start, how to finish, aqua taxes, that kind of stuff. So that video will be coming up very soon, I promise. But yeah, so I'm just going to end this now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like in this video, please, and comment below, have you ever done a multi-day hike? And if you did, where have you done it? After doing the Abel Tasman, I know for sure I'm definitely going to be doing more multi-day hikes. That was my first one. I think it was a great start to multi-day hikes. And yeah, there's so many you can do here in New Zealand. I know I would love to do the Milford Track, maybe one day, who knows, but I don't have time to do that right now. But yeah, so there's tons of multi-day hikes here in New Zealand, which I think is a good place to start them. It's a beautiful country, it's safe, and the hikes are so popular. But yeah, now I have plans to do some in Europe, in America, stuff like that. So yeah, leave a comment, have you ever done one, and where did you do it, and which ones would you recommend? So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.